We are here for PCC and bond violation. I understand the court has received and reviewed the materials that were sent over yesterday.
I did.
Thank you, Your Honor. The only request that we would have when we're discussing those materials, she is staying in a shelter in Livingston County. There is a separate DV having nothing to do with any of this, and there are some cross allegations in that case. So she's just requesting that we not say the name of the shelter if someone is listening on Zoom to where she's staying.
Understood.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe that the materials that we provided were pretty thorough in terms of where Ms. Brown has been coming from and what her circumstances are in pertaining to the bond violation. So I was wondering if the court had any questions.
Well, I do, because I'm not sure how you provided the materials, but I'm not sure how that relates to the specific allegations of the bond violation. Because what I have, certainly, maybe one might be able to look at the consumption of alcohol, but there was a tampering that occurred for a 12-hour period.
So I am going to let Ms. Brown address that herself with the court. You can explain to him where you're at in terms of the allegation. I had forwarded her the reports the same day. And just so that Your Honor knows, she did intend to turn herself into the jail this morning, but she was unable to get a ride this morning. And so she's here for in-person court this afternoon. So regarding the tamper on 6/23 and then the positive on 6/25, the court is looking for either an explanation or an admission as to these two.
Your Honor, I don't have any clue why those were coming up that way. I know that I was called in to community corrections to have my unit replaced for servicing. And when on my way there, Miss Julian called me and said that she received a notification from courts that I had a tampering and violation that she would, wanted clarification about. And I had no idea what she was talking about. I told her that I was just called in to do a replacement on the unit itself. I have only been at La Casa AA meetings and with AA people because I don't currently have transportation and a license to get myself to and from these places. And I have not had access or been in the environments of drinking whatsoever. The only events outside of AA are AA events that I've been to, such as there was a sober rave in Royal Oak that I had gone to, but that wasn't even in the dates in question. So I'll stop with that. But I was completely confused. So I had the unit replaced. And while at community corrections, they had told me that I had this tampering and violation 2 counts. And I was in for my reading the week before during this time. And they said that I was all set, good to go. We'll see you next week. And so I was really unsure why I was getting that unless it was due to needing servicing. But I've not saying, Your Honor, this is way too important.
Well, hold on a second. Just so that we're clear before you go on with your story.
Okay.
On June 23rd at the 12:56 a.m. time.
Yes, sir.
That's when the tamper is detected.
Okay.
With the unit. On the 25th, there isn't a tamper. It's just drinking.
I don't know why it's coming up with that unless the servicing part of it needed it. At the shelter where I'm currently residing, there's a locked door policy from 11:30 p.m. until 7 in the morning. And I didn't have access any of those days to alcohol or have them in my possession at a no drinking facility. And I was at the facility at both of those times, documented on camera. I believe they have at the shelter, as well as my sign in and out sheet and documentation from the shelter staff themselves saying that I was there and there was no evidence of me using. The doors lock at 11:30. I'm a smoker. I come in and I pretty much turn out the lights and go to bed by midnight every night. So honestly, I'm telling you, I do not know unless it has something to do with the servicing aspect of it. I don't have access to there, and it's a couple miles
Does she
away.
want a hearing on this? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not believing what she's telling me.
Okay.
Then we would request a hearing and we would ask Community Corrections to bring a log of their, not just the violation reports, but if she's been indicating, and she did to me that day, that they called her to Community Corrections to switch out her unit. If there was a problem, and this would have been the unit that was switched out. After this, this would have been the problem unit, is what I'm saying, is that if there was a problem with the unit. So perhaps we hearing where Community Corrections can bring their documentation of what they did and when, and the servicing of their units.
How much time would the people need?
I'm emailing Community Corrections right now, and time that works for the courts, I can bring one of them over. Anytime that works for the courts, I can bring one of them over for a bond violation hearing, whatever the court.
All right, I'll set it for August. I'll set the bond violation hearing as well as adjourn it. This time the PCC out to August 1st, 2024. Actually, it's going to be at 3 p.m. because I've got to be a hearing plus the PCC at that time. That's the bond in this case. Now, what I'm worried about is I issued a bench warrant without bond.
I understand, Your Honor. I informed Ms. Brown of that the same day that the court issued the warrant. I did instruct her to turn herself into the jail. I do believe that part toward the end of her letter that was directed to the court expresses that she was emotionally really grappling with coming into custody based on all of her circumstances that were outlined. I have continued to encourage her to turn herself into the jail. She was going to do so this morning, but she does not drive.
Ms. Julian, and I'll just tell you, that's part of my problem. Part of my problem is I know how you operate, Ms. Julian. You told your client, tell them what the right thing to do is, and they don't do it. And then today, or yesterday when we received the information and we understood she was going to turn herself in that morning. And so we were then trying to make sure that she was going to be on the docket at the proper time so we'd see her. So she wasn't just sitting there and she doesn't turn herself in. And my staff, we're going all around trying to figure out where she is. And then I get an excuse she doesn't have a ride here. I just don't think she's going to do what anybody asked her to do. She's just going to make her own call on all this stuff. And I appreciate the circumstance that she's in and have great sympathy regarding that, but I can't let you just go around violating what the court says you need to do.
I do have in the next week before the first medical alcohol treatment with another drug testing per bond order. And I also have general therapy with my counselor, my therapist, all of those appointments, as well as some medical appointments that are all before the 1st of August. I have not left the state, and I was here this morning. I was not able to get here to turn myself in, but I was here for this hearing, and I can assure you I'll be here on the 1st. I really need to make these appointments.
You shouldn't have had to go through whatever. And like I said, it's not like you didn't get the information from your attorney. You didn't get that. I'm reading everything she's sending me. She's doing a yeoman's job trying to represent you and do that. You're just not following through.
I do not have a license, and I'm really sorry that I was not able to turn myself in. I apologize for that. Thank you.
Did you call your attorney and say you couldn't make it?
No, I wasn't sure yet, but I.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, Miss Julian makes a representation to us that this is what you're going to do. This is everything. And then the person that's defending you and trying to make sure that the court understands everything about you're not even communicating with them to say this isn't going to happen. And then you're not following her instructions.
She said she'd meet me at 1:45, and I texted her at 1 o'clock and said I'd be here at 1:30 and that I would meet her at 1:45. I didn't ask her for a ride, though. You're right.
She did text me. It was after the morning, I want to say noon, that you were not able to turn yourself in this morning and that you would be here at 1:30. So I said that to meet me here since you were going to be meeting me here. So
How'd you get here this time?
I had a friend of mine picked me up.
I think that what you want to do is you don't do what you don't want to do. And so you don't put the effort forth. And then everybody is sort of just misled as to what you're going to do. Well, it doesn't work that way. Because it puts a whole lot of people out. Because, like I said, we're going on Miss Julian's representation of what she instructed you to do and what you said you were going to do. And you didn't do it. And then everybody's looking around. We don't even know where you are or that you're going to show up at this time. You don't get to make those choices. So at this time, Miss Julian, you can file a motion regarding her additional appointments and other things that she may have to do. But at this time, defendant's bond is revoked, defendant's remand.
Mr. Your Honor, thank you. In the meantime, for the record, we are trying to see if we can resolve this case at district court level. So
Okay.
those conversations will continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
So a notice to quit was sent to Ms. Marshall for lease violations on March 14th, giving her until May 1st to vacate, and plaintiff does not yet have possession of this unit.
Ms. Marshall? Did you get that information?
What information are we talking about? I got a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of papers and I read them as best I could, and I didn't read them all.
Okay, all right. Are you planning on getting somebody to kind of help you with this?
Yes, sir, I am.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just waiting on them. Oh, thanks so much.
Welcome.
That's nice of you. Thank you.
Okay, who were you waiting on?
Some friends, they're busy, and I'm waiting on them to help me out.
Okay, your friends, how were they gonna help you?
Well,
You
return the items that I have in my apartment to the people that should have them back, and to clean the carpet. I've tried to clean the carpet best I can, and it's not working out too good. So I've got some more cleaner, and I have a trouble bending over, but I've tried to clean the carpet as best I can, and I'm depending on them to clean the rest of the carpet.
Okay. All right. But let me ask you, do you have these folks all lined up or already, or we don't know?
Yeah,
when they're coming?
I have everything set in item order for each person, so each person can get their stuff back. I started going through my stuff and found out that I had stuff in my apartment that belonged to other people. And I'm trying to get it across to them. Please, pretty please, Dan, please, please, please come and get your stuff so I can get this apartment cleaned up.
Okay. All right.
Have you got anybody that you know could get eye to eye with my friends and say, hurry up and come and get my stuff?
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know that I can do that.
Extra time, it's coming up the weekend, sir.
So, pardon?
I say, sir, have you got any extra time? The weekend's coming up, and if you know of anybody that you can look face to face for me and say, get a shake on the leg here and get this stuff out of here.
Your Honor,
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
Miss Marshall's under the impression if she cleans the apartment, she can stay there. I don't think she fully understands that she's being evicted, and if she cleans the carpet, that doesn't matter. She's under the impression if she cleans the apartment, she's staying there.
Well,
So she doesn't fully understand what's going on right now.
Well, I'm trying to play my rent, but I can't. I keep getting stuck back coming to here, and my rent is late and I'm trying to get my rent paid up, and I keep getting pulled back here, so I can't get it paid, and it's late for this month.
Your Honor, plaintiff has blocked rent payment to avoid a park forest defense.
Yeah, I
I don't
understand that part.
talk with my client to see if this is a case where they'd be willing to enter into a conditional order of dismissal that allow Ms. Marshall to stay, or if they want this to result in a move out. I have to confirm that with my client.
Okay, all right.
And
All right, Marshall, here's what I'm gonna do. You got folks with you. Have you tried to contact Legal Services of South Central Michigan?
No, I was understanding that I'm supposed to do it later.
Okay.
so
Here's
Your
what I
Honor,
want you to. Yes.
I've been talking with Toy Dennis, and Toy Dennis told me once she's served with an actual hearing date that they will work with Miss Marshall for legal services, but Miss Dennis would not start until she had the actual date. And we were provided with this hearing date yesterday afternoon around 2:00. So we just knew about this hearing yesterday at 2:00, and I called Miss Dennis to let her know, and I have not been able to contact Miss Dennis. I was not able to get in contact with Miss Dennis yesterday afternoon, but I have talked to Miss Marshall that, once she does have the hearing date set, she can work with Miss Dennis, and I have talked to her about that. But the problem is right now, Miss Marshall has been at Brightwell and East Lansing. She was there for a couple weeks and she was discharged back home. CMH petitioned her, and now she's back at Brightwell. So I don't know how that's going to work with Miss Dennis and Miss Marshall, since Miss Marshall is out of the county.
Got it. Okay, so let's do this. Since Legal Services has been contacted, I'm going to give you a date to come back 1 week out to May 24th, 2024 at 1 p.m. And so you can let Miss Dennis know that that's the date I've set.
Okay.
And it may be, and that she should probably get in touch with the Fink Law Office for the plaintiff, get a clarification as to whether or not this is a circumstance that can be corrected or whether or not they want to move out. I think that's going to be the first thing that's going to have to be answered. And then try to tie it.
I did talk to Carpenter Place. We do have the $1,000 in funding, and I told them I can pay someone to clean the carpet and do all that, but they said it was kind of irrelevant at this point because they want her evicted. So they kind of told me to save my money, don't spend any money to clean this apartment.
Okay. So,
Your Honor.
All right. Well,
Your Honor.
We'll have plaintiff's attorney check that and double check it just to make sure.
Yep.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, Claudia was cleared for discharge yesterday. And so we were planning she was cleared yesterday before we found out about the hearing date. Our plan was to discharge her back to her apartment. If she leaves tomorrow or Monday, can she return until the next court hearing?
You mean, can she go back to the
home?
Apartment?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Yeah, the apartment is hers until such time as the court says otherwise.
Okay, thank you.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, if I can get out of here today, it's Friday. I can get to the bank and get a certified check, which I always give for my rent. I really want to get my rent up to date. It's almost looking for another month, sir. And if I can get out of here today in a reasonable time, I want to get to the bank and get the late fees paid because it's real important to me. Okay, I don't want to take up your time, and I'm thanking you for listening to me.
No, not a problem. Okay, Miss Marshall, do this, okay? Do this for me with your rent. Just hold on to it, and we'll figure out next week what we're going to do with that, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Next week, almost time for another rent pay.
I know, but you just do that. You're not going to be in any trouble. Okay.
Okay, if you say so, sir, you have got it.
Okay. All
And you're
right, so we'll talk
Sorry.
about that next week.
Thank you.
And just for Ms. Marshall, we're not, your landlord is not assessing late fees while your rent is blocked. They're not going to
Oh,
charge
oh,
late fees.
oh,
They blocked it on purpose because there's a court case pending.
oh.
And so they're not going to be charging late fees while that's blocked.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And then, Your Honor, I was just gonna ask if Lori could put her email address in the messaging thing so I can contact Lori of how to get in contact with Toy Dennis.
So I am not sure how to do that. I can call you with it because I work with Elizabeth and Jeannie
Okay, perfect.
at Brightwell.
Thank you so much.
Yep, I'll call you with it.
All right, thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Your
See you
thank
Honor.
you
next
so
week.
much. Thank you, and thank you. I don't know
Thank
how
you.
to thank you more than thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall.
I'm not reinfecting myself.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Corey.